Hey everybody, it's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Today is Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know where you are in the world. You could be in Australia, you could be in Germany, all across. You can certainly let me know in your comments. I've gotten so many people who have either called or emailed me or DM'd me that they got so much out of hearing my voice during this time that I decided I would go live today. Again, I know I just did it on Sunday, and if there's demand and you think there's value in it, I certainly will do it more often because I am here for you, and I want you to hear that I am here with you through this time, and that I am not going to be one of those people like Pollyanna, like it's all going to be great, And there's a lot of work that's going to have to happen for it all to be great. So I wanted to start off tonight, and this is probably about 15 minutes I'm expecting tonight, but is a quote from Desmond Tutu, and hope is being able to see that there is light despite the darkness. I think we have to hold that close, and I think we have to take that in. I have talked as a motivational speaker for 26 years now that what we put into our minds affects our entire body and infects it affects, not infects, the way that we interact with other people. And I think this is a great time for us to realize that we are more alike than different. I grew up in Ohio. So Toledo, Ohio. I grew up till I was we moved there when I was 9, I guess, to Glendale, California. And the Sylmar earthquake hit. And so there's all this incredible shaking, and it's scary. I'm a young boy, and I hear my dad, and he's opening the trap down into the cellar, and he's trying to get down there. I hear the mirror crashing, and my mom's like, no, 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 we have to get out, we have to get out. And we came from Ohio. We didn't know what the hell you did in an earthquake. My dad thought it was like a tornado. We go in the cellar. That's not what apparently you do. So it hits, and it's scary, and they say that, everything is going to be crap forever. And I was petrified as a little boy. We had these wood windows at my mom's house that in California, it doesn't really matter that there's cold or hot. They sort of close. They don't really have to close. But when when the earthquake and the aftershocks hit, they rub against each other, which scares the living crap out of you in a small home. And I heard a psychologist that said you have to take your finger and point down at the earth, stop it, stop it, stop it. And eventually a stop, and you're telling your brain that I can affect what's going on in my world right now. And that's kind of what I want to try to help unpack for you tonight as well. So if you're joining me, certainly type in where you're from. I'm glad you're here, Terry and Kyle and Carol, all of our regulars, Tina and Nancy, and several of you. Certainly feel free to jump in. But ultimately, we are talking about controlling what you can control. My big message is this is a we problem. It is not a me problem. The more we isolate, the more we feel alone, and worse, those earworms just start in our heads and drive us to distraction. I think we need to take action now and hold summer in our hearts. That's where we have to go with. If it comes in earlier and we are able to return to our normal lives earlier, well, that's a bonus. But I think you have to be careful of what you're telling yourself over and over. I know that I went through, and after the 2008 crash, I lost a lot of my major clients, and I just started worrying, like, is this going to happen? And, what's going to happen? And I called up one of my clients. I go, when am I going to see you again? She goes, well, our engineers are all striping the warehouses. And the reason they're doing that is because we're not going to fire anyone, and we have no orders. And I remember freaking out, and it was like, what am I going to do? And I've said this to you guys 100 times, but if you haven't listened to it, go online, listen to The Strangest Secret. You can find it on YouTube. And it's a motivational audio that you can hear, or now you can hear for free. You used to have to pay for it. But you have to be careful about what you're telling yourself over and over again. We're almost as happy as we make our minds up to be. And I know that sounds simple, and I know it sounds simplistic, but at the end of the day, we have to be very careful what we are doing in our heads, because I think that anxiety and nervousness just feeds on itself, and we'll take anything, and like pulling a string from a sweater, it leads us down a place where everything is terrible and I'll never get up again. And those of us who went through 9/11 or 2008 or when Kennedy was shot or a million of other things, trauma like what we're going through right now is different for everybody. And I can't tell you to just calm down, but I can tell you that It's up to us to harness the way we feel about this. It's interesting that today, when Nordstrom decided to close all their stores nationwide for 2 weeks, Adidas said, we're going to stay open because we have to help pay the bills. Everybody's going to be different. Right now, I think you have to focus on your crew, be honest with them with what's going on, what you're feeling, what you know. I mean, now is the time to start saying, well, what are the markers going to be necessary for me either to stay open or to close? But I would encourage you to go to that next level, which is, what are the markers that are going to tell us to reopen? What's the markers? What am I going to be tracking to say, okay, we can go through and schedule those events? What are those moments that we can start thinking about? And we have got to get into future tense. Those of you who know, I have talked about how we buy. There's 3 parts of the brain. There's the dinosaur brain, critical, and the top of the brain. I can't think of it. It's called the limbic system. And dinosaur brain is where we get fight or flight. Oh my God, there's a problem. You see the red lights behind you while you're speeding on the freeway. Critical parent is where we decide, is this a good idea? Do I like this? Is this too much? Do I like him? It's all that critical parent. But we buy in wonder. Wonder is where people buy. Oh, if I do this, I could do this. Wow, what would I look like in this? How easy would that be? That's a short sales tip for you. That's how we buy. If you keep in that critical parent, you have a very hard time to sell to people. You've got to get them up to wonder. It's same here. The more we stay in critical parent and something triggers us, we go down that dinosaur brain, we are lost to ourselves and lost to our family and our friends and our crew. I need you to get up into that wonder, which is seeing where we're at and just saying, well, what is it going to take for us to reopen? What is my trajectory going to be able to talk to it? How do I talk to my customers in a new way? I have talked to people who have said that they've stayed open, and I know a boat store that said on Saturday was one of their best days they've had. I've talked to other people who are staying open, and they're able to meet payroll by the little bit that they're bringing in, and they're feeling all right about it. But I think we have to think about it as this teamwork. You are wed together with your team on this, so be honest with them and keep them in the loop. You going in the back and fretting and watching CNN, or God forbid, if you keep going back, this is the worst thing that you could be paying attention to right now. Turn off your damn notifications. Well, do whatever you want, but I've turned off my notifications, and this one keeps calling my name. Don't you want to see what happened to Wall Street in the last hour? No, I don't. Go away from you, demon iPhone. Don't you want to see how bad it's getting? No, I don't need to know that, thanks, because I will just go into a cocoon and be no good to anyone. So I encourage you, please limit what you're putting into your head. And for God's sake, wash your damn hands, practice social distancing, which is about 6 feet, and cover your mouth if you cough. And if you feel sick or even close to it, then don't go into work, and make sure someone else can cover you. Now, if you have shoppers coming into your store, which, you know what? My clients are all over the map, I have to tell you. I have people who are poo-poo, this is never going to hurt us, all the way to people like, I'm going out of business tomorrow because I'm going to have to close. And I think everything in between is where we all are. There is no playbook for this. This is unprecedented in our life. And while we can go back and say, oh, I wish it was this, and I wish we'd have only, it reminds me of Rocky Horror, the movie. You had to all see Rocky Horror, right? And Susan Sarandon says to her fiance in the rain, if only we hadn't gone there. And the audience yells back, but you did. If only we hadn't. And the audience, you did. We have to give up the hope that the past could be any different. We are where we are. This is it. Choice muscle. Let's go. If you have an online store, you want to make sure that you are keeping up with orders. Don't just let them come up and then say, oh, well, we'll get around to it. You need to still be on your game. If you don't have an online store and you have products that customers might want, obviously toy stores come to mind, but also hardware stores and a lot of others, find a way that they could buy it online or call you with a credit card and deliver it to the curb, or even delivering it to their address. Retailers are creative, but retailers also have to be careful that we are making the right choices and not just filling busy time. So if you can do that, if there are customers that are interested in your products, I would want to be able to fill those. Absolutely. But today, in this video, I just want to talk about compassion. We care. We'll get through this together. That's my message to you. You are my customers. You are my external customers. You are my tribe. You are my business family. At the end of the day, the message that customers want to see is we care, we're in this together. Here's what we're doing for our staff, or here's how we're doing it. But also realize that your goal is to go through, I'm just checking to make sure I got my notes up here. Also make sure that you're thinking what it's like to be them, which is I was working here and now I'm at home and I'm maybe in front of a laptop and I've got to do my job. Oh, and by the way, I also take care of my kids and I've got to be careful about talking, of meeting I can't go and visit my mom or my grandmother or any number of different things. And so understand if they're in that cocoon, what can you do to make it either interesting? I'd love to say fun. Some of you are like, oh, it's too early for fun. It's not too early for fun. I would love someone to show me something fun. I was thinking about doing a video tonight for you, but I figure maybe you'll run with it and actually show, a lot of people don't know how to cook. And I would start off with the basics, like, let's talk about how you get the perfect boiled egg. And so what I would take is I take the egg, and the thing is, if you spin it first, it makes the center all equal size. So you could show that, and then you could talk for 10 minutes, I guess, and then open it up and show them how easy that is. And just say, there's other great tips that we can do. What's your favorite cooking tip? Or maybe you're talking about gardening or something, but you're trying to find a way to relieve the boredom. There's no sports. Yes, there's Netflix. It's a little scary that some of the most watched things on Netflix right now are contagion and zombie movies. I don't think that's really good for your mindset, but okay. Ultimately, how do you message and reassure people? If you're a barbershop, I typically go to a barbershop up here where I live and you have to wait around. Well, maybe you have to move to a by appointment only. Or if you're a massage therapist or some personal service, maybe you're going to go through and you're going to come to them and you're going to take your temperature, before you walk in or something. But there's no easy fix here. This is the problem. You get this, like, I'm having a dialogue with you. I am not saying I have the answer. What I am saying is, I think I have the attitude that I'm wanting to share with you, that we're going to get through this together, but it's going to have to be thinking about our customers more than us. And so thinking about that, I know a photography store is running a virtual photo contest. Brilliant. How much fun could that be? Like, they've got to go through and give them 4 random things they've got to put in a photo and then upload it to your site. That would be awesome. You could show them how to do something, a quick found object, but 2 minutes out of their day that could be interesting. And yeah, there is a part of it you could say, and we have a kit for that. But I just think the goal for you going on social media is to have content. And I would say do more content than less, and just say, hey, we're down here at the store. You're not. So we thought we would do X, whatever that's going to be, right? So the more you can find ways to stay in touch with your customers, the more they'll recognize that it's a we, not a me, and we're all in this together. And so that's what I want you to be thinking about here tonight, is just understanding that a lot of people are working on you, are looking at you to be able to help them get through this. And the calm and the reserve that you have when applying it is really going to come from what you do in your own mindset. It's about you helping them and saying, I care. And don't forget that's really your internal customers too, because a lot of employees can't just take 2 weeks off without a paycheck. They have talked about there's going to be ways that they're going to try to mitigate it. There's going to be loans. There's going to be a lot of different things. But the most important thing is we become concerned about others and stay healthy, and concerned about our employees who count on us, and then show that you care about your customers as well. So you've got an awful lot of different comments here. I appreciate so many of you joining in with me. If this has value of it, just let me know if you think I should do this again, if you want to do another one. Several of you are saying you read my post and you've decided to close. And you know what? There's a lot of reasons why closing for 2 weeks isn't the worst idea. Because again, do I need a new outfit if I'm working at home? Well, if I'm a clothing store, maybe I don't have that option. So I'm going to teach you the foundations of how you go through and put a great outfit together. So maybe you're going to give them a scavenger hunt of 3 items to put together that you're not sure. Maybe you're going to say post a picture, but fill the time, right? We were already having, let's face it, February and March are not our most fabulous months. It's already kind of slow. You have less people coming in, less employees. But don't forget also that you got to spend time to train them, because when they come back, and customers will come back, they are not all going to be online. What they're going to look for is a better experience than they ever had. And yes, some of your competitors are going to go out because you know what? They're just going to say, I'm done with this. And that's okay. But the ones that are following me, that are looking at it and saying, well, where am I going to be in 4 weeks? What are the markers I need to see when we get over here? And then how am I going to do even better? I guarantee you're going to sleep better at night. And the last tip I'm going to give you is what I do in one of my speeches called Yesterday's Gone, being successful in your store today. And the concept is not a new one, but I have used it ever since 2008, as a matter of fact, and it's really quite simple. I have 3 actions I have to take. Before I go to bed, I get in my bed, I lay down before I go to sleep. I remember 5 things that went well today. Now, that could be everything from I got a new client, I had the best cheeseburger I've ever had in my life, I helped somebody do a crossword puzzle. You decide. Doesn't matter. 5 things. Somebody said, oh, well, I do 3. It's like, well, 3 is pretty easy. 5 is the hard one. And you go up with those 5 things you're grateful for. It builds your heart muscle on gratitude. But you're still not done, because you have to say, well, what 5 things am I looking forward to tomorrow? And you start up and you get 1, 2. You have to work to get that 5th one. And that's okay. You go to bed. You've now got 10 things you're grateful for, right? Go to sleep. Oh, sleeping. And then you wake up. I got to get up. No, you don't. Hold on before you get out of bed. You have to remember 5. You have to come up with 5 things you're looking forward to that day. Now, that might be totally different than the 5 that you did earlier. But what it tells you is these are the 5 things I'm looking forward to. Don't reach over and open your phone. What's CNN say? No. You've got to get the mind right before the rest of it works. You can't help anybody unless you help yourself. And we have got to get out of the always on, always panicked, oh my God, and then go look for it and go down the rabbit hole and then wonder why we feel bad, right? So I hope that's helpful to you. If it is, let me know. So many of you shared my videos and you've been really helping me get through this. In case you didn't know, my speaking calendar went from full to empty. So I am the same place as you are, and I'm sure it's going to come back, because at the end of the day, people are always going to be looking for, how do I do better? And I appreciate you today joining me for, my goodness, almost 20 minutes here, Robert. And at the end of the day, just remember, this is a we, not a me, and we have to find ways to show that we care. If this has value for you, give me some thumbs up, give me some love, and if this has value, certainly share with your friends. If you think I should come back on Thursday or something, let me know. But remember, we have got to take control of our minds first before we can take better control of our businesses. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for joining me tonight, Tuesday, March 17th.